I never put it in the stream channel.
So we'll start over.
Apologies, everybody, for
So
that
we'll start over.
5
It's fine.
minutes of dead space.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
All right. Well, you just tell us when
We're ready. We're
ready?
We're live.
We're live. Okay, we're doing it now. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Now that we're doing it. So, welcome back, everybody, and sorry for the technical difficulties. I think we'll just dive right in, and maybe we get like the opening shot of like a bunch of the court of Ocantor with Duke Ocantor sit on his sort of dais with, Racin standing next to him and his brother Avery sort of off to the side. And on the other side of him, he's got like a little blue goblin and a heavily cloaked figure that you can't even tell, like they look more like a beggar than anything else. Is just these raggedy old cloak all covering all of it. And then we see the group of like a bunch of Yankee teleport in, and the camera cuts to behind Bazbeer's eyes, like Bazbeer's perspective of what's going on.
Yeah. And I think that with that, we see kind of Bazbeer notice both of his compatriots drop from a lightning bolt. And we see Bazbeer kind of ducking in and out of close quarters combat as because I think he ducked a attack of opportunity at one point.
Yeah, I believe so.
But yeah, we see him like run over and kind of like duck down, place a hand on Archer's shoulder, and a bit of like golden glowing light comes out of it, and then he immediately turns to Avaria and starts doing chest compressions.
All right. And then the camera cuts. We get like a bunch of clipping and sounds of flashes, images of battle, and we go over to the perspective of Callahan Cromwell.
Yeah. So he's watching the Duke as the Duke is talking about the speech and the one-on-one battle. And then with a soft gas from behind him from the lady
Oswayne.
I was like trying to click over my character sheet. The as the Githyanki appear, the one in front of him swinging its sword, he's able to swat it aside with a gauntlet. High AC. Before pulling out his shield and preparing for battle, and like the chaos, the noise, and everything just kind of drones out as he goes into his just kind of his duty. Like he's a soldier. As soon as battle started, he went right into that stance of being ready for everything.
Awesome. And then I think we get the clipping of the sound and flashes of combat, and we go to the perspective of Archer.
And I think from Archer's perspective, the first thing is as the battle starts proper, Archer reaches down and draws his sword, and then there's a bright flash and just a ringing in the ears as everything goes black. Then bleary eyes opening up, everything is watercolor hazy, and Bazbeer is standing over Archer, who through this dull throb throughout his entire body rolls over, kips up, and is right into it. Sword clumsy in his hand, but manages to rush up behind this strange... He doesn't even know what these things are. They're not quite human. They look a little bit like an elf, but almost a bit more feral and animal-like. And manages to run one through the back before moving and fighting alongside Raziel against another one. The two of them going back and forth, parrying blades as there's just a swing of steel all around the place.
Well, and then we get like a first person, we get like the clipping of sound and the flashing of like images of battle, and we go to the first person perspective of Saren. So So what is Saren's moment where this battle just seemed super desperate and off kilter? Because you're the only one who didn't start the battle necessarily unharmed. You're able to summon your weapon to a hand.
Yeah, so Saren kind of has an inkling and understanding what was going on, and you see as he looks at his hand and that sword comes into physical form in his hand, and you watch as she fights and shows his best skills and looks up at the Duke of Ocanther for approval, and then looks at everybody else to see how well they're doing, and watching the perspective of what the Duke is doing to do the assessment and all that. And Saren is like, oh, so we're demonstrating skills now. And you kind of see that perspective in this moment. And that's what Saren is taking in.
Yeah, because Saren was one of the people who actually understood what was going on, but that was more due to the fact that he understands the system and a little bit more of Saren. And I think Wask, I think Raziel also caught on to this, but he didn't have time to really express it. And then maybe we kind of we get the moment of like Ocanther like cutting off their ability to breathe automatically, and then we kind of flash over and we get some images of Rassen using his barbed dagger, to just rip people's throats open with it. Um, and then maybe we get like splashes of blood to the camera, and then we fade to black, and we come back over the sort of like guest house that you guys are staying in. Um, and it's maybe a few hours past, right? Like this is a few hours past, or maybe it isn't. Like, do you guys pretty much go to bed after your initial questioning of Saren, or does anybody stay up? Or do you guys pretty much try to get some rest because that was intense? What does it look like?
I think
Because that'll
Archer
determine whether this is night or morning.
goes to bed fairly early, but he spends some time watching over the Varia and making sure that she's all right.
All right.
Yeah, Bazbeer's doing long-term care on Avaria, so she recovers
Okay.
more HPs.
Okay. All right.
And Callahan stands watch outside the door.
All right. Yeah. So you guys kind of like spend most of the night kind of like you well, Archer did state that he eventually goes to bed, but you guys spend a fair part of the night making sure that Avaria is okay. Saren, what does Saren do at this time?
He's like, well, that was entertaining. We do need full rest, though, to do things. I need to go to bed. I need to sleep so that the work I need to do tomorrow can be done. Yeah, he goes to bed.
Okay. All right. So you maybe we get like a montage of you guys taking care of Avaria and standing watch. Um, do any of you stay up all night with her, or do you get rest eventually?
I think Bazbeer eventually gets rest. He'll do what's necessary for long-term care, but he'll sleep in the same room. Like even if it's just the floor or like a chair,
Right.
he'll sleep in the same room.
All right.
Callahan will probably convince Raziel to swap out because Raziel's not here to argue.
Yeah, like take shifts. Makes sense. Makes sense.
T-pose out here, please.
T-pose out here. I love it. All right, so the morning kind of rolls around, and you guys are kind of like, this is sort of like the big fallout after, because at this point, you had your chance, you took the opportunity to try to get as much answers out of Saren as you could about what's going on with him and everything else. But it has probably become fairly clear to most of you that Ocanther knows quite a lot about you. quite a lot more than he probably necessarily should. Even factoring in that you would have only come onto anybody's radar within the last year, you know, he still would have needed. It still seems like he should have had to have spent more time digging up information on you guys to find out as much as he already seems to know. He did state that he was a telepath, so that may have something to do with it. Arthur, and there was something special. I was trying to remember where I was at here. Let me look at my notes. As far as give me a survival check, Arthur. In fact, anybody with survival, give me a survival check.
Pull that up.
Yo.
Do-do-do.
Do I have survival? I got no points in it, so no worries.
Anybody else?
I don't got points in it.
I don't think I have points in it either. No, I do not.
Saren?
I think I should have put some, but apparently I didn't.
Raziel? Quick, check Raziel's score sheet.
Well, Raziel is a barbarian and may actually realize this. I suppose I can make a check for Raziel here. Because he absolutely should have. It's like, yeah, he's got. He actually has a pretty good roll in that. Nope,
He's
Raziel
got a
doesn't
better
catch it.
survival than I do.
Yeah, he's didn't seem to help him much in that situation. All right. I am Basbier. I'm going to allow you to make me a wisdom check here.
Okay.
Wow.
Asbeer's frazzled.
Does anybody have animal handling?
I do.
The skill has to be achieved.
Well,
wait,
no, I'm
where-
just giving you guys as many chances. I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of any skills that might be relevant to this.
I have animal.
Callahan,
I also have animal handling.
go ahead and make a check in animal handling then.
It's not great, but I have it.
Could still
Damn
be a
it.
20. Hey,
Well-
still good. 14.
I was so
Archer-
close. I was so close to beating you.
Arthur and Callahan, something you right now like occurs to you. Maybe like it doesn't necessarily have to occur maybe at the same time, but both of you realize that even if he was riding on the fastest horse you could find, there's no way he should have beat you to Nur. You were in a flying airship. There's no way he could have traveled overland by normal means to get to Nur and be there when you got there. Because you saw him in Pothil. Like Evaria specifically saw him in Pothil and reported that fact to you guys.
You talking about Rassen?
Yep, Rassen. There's
Okay.
no way Rassen should have beat you guys to. There's no way Rassen should have beat you guys to. Should have beat you guys here on any kind of animal. Give me a second here. Sorry, telling the kid to turn the TV down a little. I realized I could hear it and it was distracting, and I didn't want the microphone to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So where are you when like this is morning time when you both kind of probably have a chance to come to this conclusion? So that's the so how like what does this look like? Where does it? Do you guys have a discussion about it? Do you bring it up to anybody? How does this look?
For Archer, it probably clicks when he's actually, maybe he's having breakfast or something, but he's looking out at the roads or the nearest path of some sort, and that just leads to the train of thought.
And Callahan, he's actually probably gone out to check on the horses, just to make sure if we need to leave, they're going to be in good shape. And as he's like grooming one of them, he's like, "Wait a minute,
Like something
that's when
doesn't
it
add up
clicks."
here. Yeah. Yeah, something doesn't quite add up here. And why don't all of you give me a wisdom check here? Because there is something, or gather information, whichever is better for you.
Which what was the other one? First one?
Wisdom or gather information, whatever works better for you. Because this is effectively stuff you could have come up with from being.
I don't have any ranks in gather, so I'll just have to do wisdom. Flat check.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. All right. With Basbeer, it actually occurs to you, but not necessarily anybody else. Ocanther made some offhand comment about Rassen not exactly being under orders here, that he's kind of like off the off the reservation a little bit, as the saying goes. He's a little bit, he's not effectively where he's supposed to be or doing what he's supposed to be doing, at least according to Ocanther's understanding.
Okay.
Given that Ocanther is a high level telepath, there you
kind of insinuating that he's handling personal business, perhaps, or that he's off the wire.
Yeah, that he's a little. Yeah, that he's kind of not doing. He's not supposed to, of according to like his own people. Like Ocanther is insinuating, look, the cult doesn't know you're here and doesn't exactly approve of what you didn't check this, whatever this like little side jaunt here through your superiors. Like whether he knows that for a fact because he's a high level telepath and could potentially pick up on that, or whether he's gathered that through information gathering, or whether he knows jack diddly about it and is simply insinuating it to get a reaction that he wanted out of somebody. He could have even been testing Rassen himself to see if this was true. And it's kind of no way to really tell because he's super hard to read. But he made an offhand comment about this.
Sure. I think that, like, maybe Basbeer is, like, going over the events as he's, like, once again, like, wrapping Ivaria's wounds. And, like, we kind of see Ivaria, like, you know, unconscious and, like, Basbeer's, you know, taking care of her. And he's, like, wrapping her wounds and he kind of starts mouthing through the conversation that was had. And he kind of pauses on one of those things where he's, like, you know, starts to think, and then quickly finishes his work and will head out and try and grab the others. At least Archer and Callahan.
Theron, I actually forgot you have a couple other skills that might work here too. You have concentration, and do you have auto hypnosis as well?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, give me an auto hypnosis check, because if you pass that, then you remember the same thing. Bam! Not only do you remember
great.
that, not only do you remember
Still
that
nat
with
20.
perfect clarity, like you can't speak to Ocanther's motives, but Rassen clearly, for Rassen's reaction was telling, in the fact that while he seemed to be like he didn't care, there was something that suggested that there may be some hint of truth to it, because he seemed to slightly, he got a reaction, like Ocanther got a reaction out of him. And what that, you know, probably tells you is that Ocanther might be on to something there, because like you're trained to remember shit like this. Like this is part of your training. So you're like, wait a minute, details of things that have happened. Yeah. So yeah, you remember with perfect clarity.
So I'm just gonna point out that Saren is just sitting down in the living room, kind of on the couch to himself, waiting for
Okay.
everybody else to wake up, and just realizing that thought process going over the events like he normally does, and it comes to clarity about that, and he's like, "Oh, they're gonna want to know that. All right, I'll tell them when they wake up."
Okay.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. I think Basbeer probably gathers Saren, gathers Archer and Callahan into like the living room, uh, probably, or whatever the closest equivalent to a living room is in this place.
all right. Yeah.
But yeah, Basbeer probably would say, "Gentlemen, I believe that I might have some information that I have recalled from the night before. Something that might be valuable."
I as well.
Does it have
Sorry.
something to do with the fact that Rassen shouldn't be here?
Aye, it
Callahan
does.
looks over.
And Basbeer probably, and Saren's like already in the living room, I'm assuming.
Yeah, he was sitting on the like whatever a couch type thing would be,
Mm-hmm.
just waiting for everybody to come down. And he's like, and as you say that, he's like, "Yeah, there's I have the ability to read situations and stuff like that. Like I was trained to do it. So yeah, there's a lot of truth to the fact that he's here outside of orders or something like that. Like the comment that the Baron made kind of is more or less 100% true by everybody's reaction in the room.
Probably says, "Aye, and if he's here without support from the cult, that might make him vulnerable."
But then why is he here?
Perhaps he's trying to... Well, we know that he's here to try and kill Fash, but perhaps he's doing that without support. Maybe it's personal. Maybe his ego was wounded when Fash fought him off in the inn.
Whatever it is, we haven't even found Fash yet. But I like
Okay.
where this is going.
I have a question. Should we ask the Baron if he wants us if we're allowed to execute him?
The Baron said something to that effect whenever we were fighting those... whatever they were.
So long as we don't damage any Ocanther property or citizens, we've been given carte blanche to deal with our problems however we see fit.
He pretty much just said, "I'm content to let this play out, but don't fuck up my shit.
Yeah.
And don't fuck up
Yeah.
my people or my shit. Effectively, and this is maybe something, Saren, you might be able to guess at. As far as you're concerned, your performance in the battle in the courtroom was probably might have been a deciding factor in that, deciding he didn't really have a dog in the fight on this one. And the grim part about this for you is you figure that probably has to do with the fact that Artur and Avaria went down to a lightning bolt fairly quickly. So it's possible that he figures that it doesn't matter which side wins. He doesn't, but he probably doesn't think you guys have much of a chance at this point. And from his perspective, if Rassen and you guys kill each other off, that solves two problems for him. You know, you would have to guess that would be his perspective. You can't know for sure because he never like tells anyone like exactly what he's aiming for, but just given the way that he plots and plans things, you know.
So, I mean, if we want to take care of him, we can, because, the Dutch doesn't care what we do. Because he probably thinks we're going to fail anyways, but whatever. That's a whole different bag of worms, but we got this. Right? How's everybody doing today? Everybody get a good night rest? We all good?
Electrocution does wonders for your sleep.
You passed?
I
Yeah.
think Callahan has to stifle a laugh at that just because of how hard I laughed.
Yeah, I think that Basbeer just like scowls at Saren like, did we get a good night's sleep? Like, like fucking Basbeer says, but whatever the case, I believe that we must wait until Fash shows himself. We most likely got here before he will be here. Both of us. Both us and Rassen. Meaning, until we have an opportunity to deal with this, we should perhaps busy ourselves with other matters.
Oh,
Didn't
I have a couple
the
things that we could do.
well, out of character, didn't the Duke's brother give us a mission?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what Basbeer
Yeah.
is kind of leaning towards.
Yeah.
Dang.
Okay.
I was like,
Yeah.
I have a couple. Saren speaks up. Was like, oh, I have a few things we could do.
Basbeer says, Basbeer probably says,
Shut
believe-
up, narc!
yeah, he probably goes, I believe we understand that your tasks are, well, more to your own taking.
I mean, y'all could help. It'll get done faster, and then we'll be in better stance with each other in the
Yep.
area of Ocanther.
Everyone just giving him an unimpressed look, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Everybody looks
absolutely.
nonplussed.
Basbeer says, Arthur, you weren't here for this, but I did give my word that I would look into a problem in the lower quarter of this city to the brother of Duke Ocanther.
What sort of problem?
A blindness plague of some sort. Religion is not exactly fondly viewed here, so clerics are few and far between. Perhaps I will be able to assist in some way here.
Blindness plague.
Says, aye, and they believe it's spread by the Stoneboar dwarves. Fools.
I suppose that we should be getting a move on that sooner rather than later.
Probably nods and says, perhaps this will do some good to rehabilitate the image of my kin in these people's eyes. It's clear that they have no respect for their lands, as was clearly stated last night before, well, everything happened.
Don't get your hopes too far, Basbeer.
Yeah, he nods at that. He understands. But yeah, he says, whether it does good for my people or not, it's an opportunity to help those who are in need and are clearly being ignored by their people.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think Basbeer says, if Arya is tended for the day, she'll need more rest after last night. I believe that she will most likely be safe here, but... Well...
She will be.
Yeah. And I think Basbier gives a look to Arthur and kind of says, "There is one thing that has weighed on my mind since last night.
Aye.
The methodology of... Well, when you were both hit by that lightning bolt, I healed you. But with Varya..." And he just gives like a very knowing look to Arthur.
And Arthur gets a very grim expression in return.
Says, "Along with the way the Duke was speaking last night to Evaria, I have concerns."
Well-founded concerns.
Probably says, "We should keep an eye on this situation. A close eye."
Agreed. And at least for now, perhaps Advaria is better off staying somewhere like here, out of sight.
Probably nods. And what is Callahan's look as we're talking about this? Because, like, Callahan doesn't know.
He's confused. He's like, huh?
Yeah.
Is this like a anti-magic thing, a religious thing?
It's a religious thing of sorts.
Of sort.
Okay.
What? Okay, I'm gonna be quiet now.
Yeah. And Basbier probably says,
That's actually probably something where when of all people, Saren thinks that it might not be best to keep this. Archer's going to look between Callahan and Basbier with a look that basically is like, should we tell him?
Basbier gives a deep sigh and, grabs the, kind of pinches the bridge of his nose. And he says, "Callahan, how loyal are you to your orders?"
Orders are orders. Unlike someone. No, I report back dutifully every week.
"And how loyal are you to your brothers in arms?"
Battle Brothers.
He kind of has to think for a moment, and he's like, I would say the same amount of loyalty, but they're separated, if that makes sense. I put my life on the line for any one of you, but I would still need to follow my orders to Duke. Baron. To the Baron. Baroness.
If you can only
I
pick
think
between one or the other. If you can only pick between one or the other, which one are you going to pick? People by your side or your orders?
You can see this is causing massive internal conflict in him. Because he's grown up with an order from the Baroness is one that everyone agrees with. Like, this is life. Like, order from your captain is an order. That's it. So, like, hey, what if you get an order from two different people you're loyal to? It's like,
Listen, see, my 2 cents is that you get an order from a higher up and you do it, but you chill out with the people nearby and you kind of do to make them helpful too. I'm still gonna fight next to all y'all, but Ganther is gonna get his stuff too.
Unimpressed
I've
stare.
So Callahan's the same way. So if I know the stuff about him and haven't betrayed him as much, well, he knows about it. Callahan can handle it.
But my leader's not a dick.
Oh, God. I've been laughing this whole time,
Yeah.
but I unmuted for that one.
Oh, that was good. I think Bazbeer at that kind of nods, looks at Arthur, gives him
Hey,
kind
not
of
my
a hand
dick.
wave. Yeah, I think that he gives Arthur a bit of a hand wave as like a
Arthur
yeah.
takes a deep breath and goes, Callahan, there's something you need to know about Avaria. We're not sure why, to what extent, or any of the details, and neither is Avaria. But Avaria is a necromancer.
I think at that word, his face does go like blanched or dark, just because that's an ingrained thing. Like necromancer bad.
And
But
that-
you can see a look of understanding on Arthur, who is like, "Oh hell yeah, man, I get it.
And-
I want to kill skeletons too."
And Bazbeer, yeah. I think Bazbeer says, before you judge, this was not of her own volition. This is powers foisted upon rather than sought out, it seems.
I mean, she could have found a box hidden underneath a bed and got powers and just embraced it too. It just happened to be necromancy abilities, right?
That is such a specific scenario you have in your head.
Well, that's how I got mine. Just saying.
Right. I don't
Yeah,
think that she found skeletons in her closet.
I think Callahan's
Mira
saying
thinks that's
She
funny.
may have
You-
found them, but she didn't put them there.
Yeah,
she
yeah.
sure brought him out.
Yeah. Bazbeer says, obviously, Evaria has been crucial, if not essential, to aiding us in our quest. And she is aligned to our goals, just as she is to the same goals that the Baron and the Baroness both feel. But this is something that we must keep with utmost discretion. If anyone were to find out, it's a very valuable bargaining chip. At best, she would be tied to the stake and burned. Worst, all of us would be.
Yeah. I mean, he knows about it and he hasn't done it yet. Or, never mind. Sorry.
And like Bazbeer just like turns.
Cern is such a
Looks.
bad secret agent.
Bazbeer turns towards Arthur and like looks just dumbfounded.
Arthur takes a breath. He reaches up, he rubs at the edge of his nose and is like, fascinating. Tell me, your boss, who I am in agreement with Callahan, is, what we in the North would call a fucking prick. What else does he know?
I look at Basbeer and his book and was like, anything I've memorized in that book.
Bazbeer looks hurt. Like immediately there's like a pang of just like 222 years. Trust is a fickle thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but see, now they know the stuff that you know and could have the ability to fight off what your people have been doing for a while. So they have a stake in trying to help. At least that was my thought process.
If the Bloody Duke was so damn careful, or so damn caring about situations like this, I don't think he'd be using you to spy on us.
Seren?
Well, it's knowledge. Everybody's got to learn stuff.
I
Somehow.
denounce you. I do not know the words. You are no longer my kin, and you no longer are burdened with the trust that I might impart in you. You are my ally, but you are most certainly not my friend.
Okay. Well, we could still. I'm confused. Very confused.
What's there to be
Basbier says,
confused about, Saren? You took something important to Basbier. Something that Basbier gave up everything to try and help the outside world for. And you
Yeah,
used it
and
as a
now
bargaining and you used it as a bargaining chip to give to the Baron, who has gone behind our backs at every opportunity.
he just
Basbier,
wanted information to understand the people he has working for him.
He wanted
So
information
then,
to line his own damn pockets. As every Baron in this stupid world does. All of this was bargaining chips for their little game. They don't care about what happens to us. They don't care that there is an entire army of the undead coming from the north. Where will all of this be, Saren? Where will this knowledge that Ocanther seeks be when there are zombies at his throat?
he'll know how to fight him then. He'll have that same information, and that's why I gave it, so that he would have it, and they could join us. That was my
Then
understanding.
why is he making play with a kill hand in his court?
That one I'm confused about.
Basbier is just sitting there, like, staring straight ahead. He's probably gonna just stand up and say, Arthur, Callahan, I'm going to ready myself for the lower quarter.
Right. And Arthur sits back, reaches into his vest, and pulls out a small flask. Let's all cool off. We have work to do.
Yeah?
Callahan?
He looks over.
At least tell us if you're going to go tell someone else.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think Basbier just walks out of the room to get kitted up. Like he doesn't even look at Saren. Like this is full on shun like vibes.
I'm voting you off the island.
Yeah.
I don't know. Saren has the mentality. He's like, he doesn't understand because he spent so much time by himself and reporting to the Ganther so much, and it's just
Yeah,
normal
this is
to
normal
him.
to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, absolutely. Like, I understand why Saren acts the way he does. Basbier probably also understands a little bit, because he's an old guy, and he understands duty, you know? But, like, he's not in the headspace right now. He's
Yeah.
just been betrayed by an ally. Like, a severe betrayal. Like, not just a tactical betrayal, but, like, a personal, like, betrayal.
Saren, you're not coming to my birthday party.
It'd be as if Saren had just read Basbier's mind. Because, like, that's kind of what his book is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and I'm saying Saren's used to people reading his mind because
Right.
it's normal to him. That's why he's
Yeah.
in a confused state, that he didn't understand how it's a betrayal. He's
Oh, yeah.
confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're good. You guys are. Who's going to the lower quarters to investigate?
I think all of us are.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
once
Leaving
Archer, do you leave
Laziel
the room as
behind
well?
as a guard.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Archer
Yeah.
would leave to go get ready.
All right.
I think Callahan will walk up to Saren, put a hand on his shoulder, and say, "The pain of duty," and then punch him in the face, and then give him a hug and walk away.
Damn.
Oh, that's harsh. Does Saren try to dodge or defend himself against the punch, or does he just take it?
Not a
He's
damaging punch. It's
Yeah.
just like a boom, like a sock. Like
Okay.
Yeah, Saren doesn't really see it coming and is kind of confused, and then it's like, he's still going over in his mind how it's a betrayal, and he gets distracted a little bit and kind of takes it and is like, "Oh, wait, am I in the wrong?"
Are
Not
we
the
the
And
baddies.
baddies?
turns and goes, yes and no. I understand your requirement to your duty, but a person's privacy is their highest regard, and taking that away from them is almost unforgivable.
So
I
anyway,
don't understand. I kind of okay. Okay.
It will take time.
I like how Callahan's the only one to stay and be like, try to
I
explain it
just
to him and be like, look.
Well, and Archer's fine if he doesn't get it by now, he's not gonna get it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that I think that you guys managed to get around and whatnot. What are you you guys are going to the lower ward to investigate. Why don't you give me some gather information checks?
Just the
Right.
Lazrikaan. Although,
Uh,
what is gather information under?
It's a
Drop
skill.
charisma. I can't boost that. I can boost
Uh,
wisdom.
can I
Which
do
actually,
heal checks?
Heal checks
Yeah.
to heal people?
Just to like get a state of like what this blindness plague really is, like just like by
Oh,
earthly methods, see if I
I'll,
can.
so you're actually going to find some people who have it and inspect them.
I'll
Yes,
motivate
that's
wisdom.
Okay. Okay.
that's my goal. I don't. Yeah. Okay. You're gonna boost wisdom. Cool. That gives me what, a +4 to heal checks whenever I can make one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
+4.
sure. So you're going to use a heal check to actually investigate the actual victims, and the rest of you are going to look for information.
Yeah, could I use listen to basically listen in and see if people are talking about the plague?
Listen is fairly specific to trying to is a little bit more specific in scope. Like you're
Yeah.
gathering information is is listening to other people's conversations. It's buying drinks. It's striking up conversations.
Yeah. Basbeer is going to find like the nearest, because when you're blind and you're in the poor quarter, I'm assuming a good chunk of them are homeless.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Are beggars.
There are plenty of homeless.
Yeah,
It's
Okay, I
Basbeer.
can.
It's
Oh, go ahead.
striking how little violent crime there is, but that doesn't mean there is no crime. It
Right.
just tends to be like victimless crime.
I'll try to gather information because I just read that you can make them if you're untrained. It's just an untrained.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just more of a blunt gather, and it's not good.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and make your heal check, Basbeer.
All right.
Because
+4.
and Callahan and Basbeer are turning up beans. Well, Basbeer, it comes clear to you very quickly that this is not a natural sickness. That there's something more at work here. Like, you're kind of like, this is no natural sickness you've heard of or seen before. There's something else going on.
Can I? Sorry, I don't want to dominate the
No,
scene.
go ahead.
Cleric on the side
Cleric
of
dominates
disease.
scene. You get the right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I make a knowledge arcana roll? To see if I know much about like spells that could cause blindness.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that. Go for
Okay.
it.
I'm gonna, and because I'm rolling this with wisdom, do I get the benefit from? Because my ancestral knowledge, I roll this with wisdom. Do I get the benefit from Daniel's, from Callahan's thingy?
If you're near
Aura?
me, it's a +4.
Yeah, if you're near him and they're not the exact same type of bonus, then yeah.
Okay. So that's a 22.
Okay. So all of the spells that you know of that could cause blindness would wear off after a certain period of time. As far as magical plagues go, they're really the only one you can think of is blinding rage, and if that were the case, all of these people should be acting like berserkers, attacking everything around them at all times until they, die. But this does not seem to be the case. You can recall that there are several different like creatures that have the ability to cause blindness, but it's really hard to pin down what might have caused what creature that this specifically like would align best with.
Hmm.
Because a great many of the ones you can think of have a limited time effect or would likely end in the subject's death rather than being released to just be blind. Um,
Yeah.
so you're getting warmer. You're eliminating things. You're like, this is process of elimination right now, and you've eliminated a number of things. You've eliminated natural causes and most spells, and you're kind of left with this. This is likely to be the ability of some kind of magical creature or some such. But it's
How about
hard to pin down what exactly it would be.
how
Actually,
about
kind
Um,
of.
I have a question, Bess. I don't mean to be rude, but is there a part of the brain that can be eliminated with psychic abilities to remove sight? Um, could it be like a psionic thing to remove it? Just saying.
Well, you would
The
know
back of
that
the
better.
brain.
You would know that better than Basbier would. You know psychic powers. You have knowledge psionics.
Yeah, I'm
Callahan
just
will, when you
throwing
ask
that out.
that, he will
Ah, yeah.
say the back of the brain. I knew a guy who got hit back there, and he got hit so hard he went blind.
And I think there are some psionic powers that cause blindness. But give me a roll on that. Saren, if you're actually thinking about it, give me a roll of knowledge psionics.
If it's wisdom, you get a +4.
Woo.
Saren,
Maybe.
there are psionic abilities that do this, but all of them also have the same effect, the same limitations as the magical, as what Basbier would describe as the magical limitations in terms of there's a time limit on how long it's going to last. And these are people who have had this for days, sometimes even weeks on end.
I think Basbier probably, first of all, he does not acknowledge Saren when he speaks.
Right.
Just wanted to put that out there.
Okay.
I think that Basbier calls over Archer and Callahan and says, and probably, I hate to do this to you, Jesta, but I'm probably going to ask the beggar. I'm going to get familiar with this beggar I'm examining, right?
Okay.
I'm going to ask this beggar, like, when did you lose your sight? Do you remember anything from when you lost your sight?
It's hard to keep track of time, but I reckon, he goes, I reckon it was probably about 3 weeks ago, maybe? I could be wrong. And he goes, and I could still see, but I can't see really well. I can't. And this seems to be another, problematic of this is that people are technically can see, but they don't have much vision. Like their vision gets blurry after a certain point.
Okay. Yeah, I think,
He goes, he's like, I get these headaches sometimes.
says, do you remember anything from immediately before you went blind? Or partially blind?
And he goes, well, he goes, not really. I mean, I did have this really bad dream. I mean, I had this really bad dream of this monster attacking me. This long tongue. And when I woke up, I couldn't see. They tell me that it might be that my brain was trying to process my body going, uh, my vision failing. He goes, this is he says that's all that the local. He goes, that's all that the local constables came up with is that that perhaps that there's a that just it was a nightmare because and he can't like he kind of like rambles off. I mean
Mhm.
he's clearly traumatized and there's clearly and he's also very clearly like drunk or on some kind of illicit substance.
Mhm.
What would
But
be the
he's
knowledge check for there being a creature that can inflict nightmares?
that would probably be a knowledge arcana check.
Yeah, I'll
I
I'll
mean,
make a
you could try a knowledge nature check if you want, or
Yeah, my nature is better.
I'll make that knowledge arcana. That's 18
nature's
with you.
better, I say.
Oh wait, no, it's not wisdom, it's intelligence. Let me make that arcana check. So that's a 23.
so there are nightmare creatures, but none of them line up exactly that with what you seem to be with the information you have so far.
What about he mentioned that the thing has a long tongue? Is there anything that like lines up with the description of like long tongue causes blindness?
Uh, Not really particularly to your knowledge at this point.
Hmm.
There are things that kind of come close to matching that, but like
Hmm.
either have long tongues or can cause blindness or are a nightmare creature, but nothing that necessarily seems to combine all three into one beast as
Hmm.
such.
Okay, I got a question. Is there like multiple people have had this nightmare? Is there like a centralized location on where the nightmare took place that each person remembers of this long tongue creature thing? Is there like a centralized location that they recall being at?
So I'm going to let you make a gather information with a special +2 because you're getting specific now. You're starting to look for specific details. So you've narrowed it down. So if you guys want to like make some gather infos with that extra +2, given what you know now, what you've come up with so far.
Sure.
I think Archer is going to refine it
15.
even further,
Okay.
where
And
he's looking for information specifically when this all started happening.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's also very wise.
Because one
Damn.
day I'll roll above a 7 in this game.
Well, I think Callahan, Basbier, and Saren, you get some general locations between all three of you, but you're going to probably need to look at a map of the city to really figure out what these places have in common.
Pull it up.
Sure. Yeah. Do
Like
we
you're kind
have a
of
map of the
figuring out
city?
where the hot spots. You do not, but you know that there is one back at the villa, at the guest house.
Mine was a
Okay.
joke to see if Jess actually had one ready.
Yeah. Um, I can I make a religion check? to like see if there's any sort of like, I don't know, any kind of religious tie or any like maybe it's like a demonic or a angelic, probably not an angelic creature, but you know, like something like that.
I will allow knowledge religion checks if you guys want to do so.
Okay.
The DC is still fairly high to identify exactly, but you do have the ability to make those. So anybody with knowledge
21.
religion. Archer, don't you have knowledge religion?
No.
You do not. Okay.
I have
only other
geography,
person-
dungeon, and nature.
All right. So Bazbeer with your extra +4, right?
Yes, so 21.
You have heard of creatures close to this. They're legends, old legends about undead creatures that are similar to this. You're like you're gonna have to go back through and look through your book for an exact
Mm-hmm.
match, or whatever. But you think you know sort of the chapters to look in.
Okay. Yeah. I think probably because I just got a new book, this will be in the book that's in the airship.
Okay.
Or I guess we probably moved the trunk from the airship into the villa. It doesn't really matter. It's got a masterwork
Right.
lock and it's made out of iron,
Right.
so we'll know if someone tries to get in. Like,
Right.
yeah. Sounds like the resources that we need are at the villa right now, unless anybody has more stuff to do in the lower quarter here.
I do not.
Right.
Or more
I don't want
questions
to roll
for...
anymore, man. I don't want to roll.
Yeah. I think Bazbeer will give the blind beggar like a blessing, you know. May fate treat you more fortunately, he says as he kind of you know what, he'll put a gold in his thing.
Everybody
Given
makes
comfort.
spot checks too.
Would this
Right.
be undead related?
Spot check? I don't know. Just give me some spot checks. I'll take a. And I'll
Okay.
tell you what you guys.
Let's see here.
Well,
If you
with
pick-
the
if you
plus
pick up
4, it
anything.
would be 17. But with my
Okay.
favorite enemy shit, it would be higher. If it was.
Mine would be 22.
I think Arthur and Callahan, you pick up on something. There seems to be an awful lot of birds, crows, or ravens. You can't really tell from this distance, but like you've noticed that they seem to like you. While you see a lot of them around, just individually here and there, maybe as you guys are leaving the quarter. Callahan, both you and Arthur pick up on the fact that maybe it's just now occurring to you that there always seems to be at least one bird watching you.
Could I do a nature roll or a survival roll or something to, if this is natural behavior, if they're being drawn here because
Yeah.
there's food or something, or if they're being like controlled?
Yeah, you can totally make that roll.
Finally.
Hell
So
yeah.
for the most part, like most of the birds seem to be there for natural reasons. Food, civilization, people who are kind of like sick, and the occasional corpse in an alley from somebody who just died from being sick or whatever. But the ones that are watching you become very distinct in your mind because, well, Callahan, you can make whatever like sort of assessment of this that you might make. Archer, to you, it is very, very clear that the way that the birds you've noticed that have watched you throughout the day are directly watching you, and it is not normal behavior. Like, you'd expect to maybe get stared at by a bird, a raven, or a crow once in a while. But to have this many of them seem to be staring at you in a day, that's not exactly a natural thing.
The birds that are
And
staring
there
at us.
and there appears to be something ephemeral about them. You can't be 100% certain, but there's something that seems a little ephemeral about them.
Being watched.
Bazbeer says, I have suspicions.
Look at that bird. It doesn't even look real.
Probably takes a look and goes,
Basbeer, you
I.
can't tell the difference, but like you
Yeah.
know that Archer knows nature, so
Oh, yeah. No, Bazbeer will look at it
You could
for
probably
a
still
moment.
see the ephemerality of it.
Yeah.
it's not like it's something that's like always going on. It's something that seems to flicker just when you turn your head just the right way.
Is
Very
this a
John
normal thing that I would be used to doing from Ocanther?
Oh yeah, yeah. There are. I mean, there's always birds in the lower quarter, particularly ravens and crows and pigeons and any kind of bird that might scavenge. Because I mean, the
But
lower quarters are full of people who are sick or drunk or
is it a normal thing
dropping
for
things
the Dutch to do? Would I
for the
have
Duke to
knowledge
do.
that for the Duke to do this normally? Would I have knowledge
That's
that he would do that normally?
that's a thing he could have done. You're well aware of the kind of power that young Lady Oswain, that young Mistress Oswain, and Duke Rovisk, for that matter. Some people are able to call upon uh, mold creatures from the ethereal plane using psionic powers, and can express them in different ways. So certainly there are people who have powers that could do this, but and that would likely work in the Duke's employ. But there's, most of the shapers tend to be artists, and are sanctioned like government sanctioned artists. Much fewer of them work as spies. Like if they're going to go into military service at all, they usually go into special, assault units if they've learned the right shapes and forms. So it's not entirely impossible for something like this, for this to be a psionic ability. Um, Archer,
I was
you
gonna
get the
say,
feeling it's not, but you don't know much about psionics either, so.
Yeah.
Saren would be like, it's not from Boss Man. Just so you know. All right, back home, temporary home, whatever. All right, we're good.
Yeah. Bazbeer has no more business in the lower quarter right now.
Okay.
Um,
So, yeah,
oh, go ahead.
you guys managed to make it back to the villa. Like your escort is a little lighter today than it was in previous days. Quite possibly because you have Saren with you and the way things have progressed so far. Like you would probably get the impression Ocanther is keeping an eye out, but it seems like he's less worried about you as a potential threat, or at the very least he's got other business he's more concerned with, utilizing his forces for.
Yeah. I think Bazbeer probably says, check on the maps where this area is, where the areas are hotspots.
Right.
For me, I must chase down chase down a hunch.
I grab the map and put it on the table and kind of roll it out. Be like, so, hey guys,
Right.
yeah,
So for those of you who are studying the map, Saren, You can make a knowledge local here. And for you, Artur, you can use that that geography, knowledge geography, if you so choose.
And what would I roll?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
And do you have anything that helps with reading a map or knowing
Damn.
terrain?
I'm so tired of dice, man. Just somebody kill me, IRL. Just come in here with a big old
I don't have any
nail and
points
hit me in
in
the
geography,
Oh.
but maybe my training as a soldier might help.
Well, I think Saren, being from here, probably has it covered. So Saren, all of the hot spots where this stuff seems to have like started, the one thing that you are able to determine looking at the map is that all seems to happen around major sewer entrances or runoff spots from the sewer leading out of town. Like where it's happened has been closer to access points to the sewer, whether they're drains, whether they're drainage ditches, drainage tunnels, whether it's the straight up like service entrances to the sewers, whether it seems to be. But whatever it is, it seems to be happening around those areas, which would track for a normal disease, being the proximity to so much human waste that is not properly taken care of would tend to be a problem. But what doesn't fit here is that Ocanther takes a very dim view of public services not being well maintained. Like it's a matter of pride for him that like the water is always flowing the way it's supposed to be, that the sewage and the drainage is being handled the way it's supposed to be. Like um, people who make mistakes in those jobs generally do not find other work when they're fired because it's that big of a deal.
So that's what Saren's going to point out. He's going to be like, so all of our knowledge of where the attacks happen seem to be near sewage entrances. And in a normal city up north, that would be conducted of, nasty, ew, not taken care of type thing. But here, it's a big deal. And it's maintained that it's clean and done, so that would eliminate that option, which means it might be somebody, a creature gaining entrance into the sewer system, which means at least if we go into the sewers, it won't be dirty because there's a lot of regulations required in the maintaining of the water flow within the city. Um, I'm just letting you guys know that how things work, I guess.
Okay. I don't know anything about creatures.
This gives me the feeling that there's someone or something spreading this disease.
And Basbeer comes out with his first book and is looking through it. Do I need to make a check, or was my... Yeah.
Why does that sound to me like he's about to go on a book signing tour? Where and then Basbeer came out with his first book.
Yeah.
No, your original check was good enough.
Okay.
So you get a partial description of a
Mhm.
creature. The creature is described as having a long tongue and many eyes, and it's called. Your people call it an eye drinker. It's a. These creatures are generally like they've been like your people have encountered them very rarely in the last several centuries, but
Mhm.
they were something that was recorded from all the way back in before the original Vestian takeover of the world, like before your the Uthuran locked themselves in their mountain. Basically, these things were were often found in cities that were often found in cities before their fall. Like they were often considered to be some portent of doom. What is known about them? What is known about them is that they possess a great deal of magical power. They're often very terrifying, and a they often precede a rather they often preceded a lot of social chaos that weakened the fact that um, weakened the fabric of the defenses before Vestian armies took over in cities.
Yeah, I think Basbier reads this and he says, "It appears that Vestia is plying their old tools of their oldest trade." And says, "We're dealing with something called an eye drinker."
I drink.
Says, "Aye, they're aye." Says, "They're often used to destabilize cities before the forces arrive, sowing chaos within before more concrete. Think of them as the heat before you mold the metal."
Is there any way I could roll something to, with my knowledge of the undead, as something to be hunted?
You can roll. It's still a pretty high DC, but like it doesn't give a distinctive your book doesn't give you like a distinctive list of powers and abilities that it might have,
Right.
but maybe Archer might have heard something down the line.
Yeah.
So you can make a check again based on this knowledge to see if there's an off chance if you've heard of these things and if you might know more.
And what would that be?
It would be knowledge religion.
We're so cooked.
Oh,
Hey.
we slaying. We
Now,
slaying.
now you roll a 16.
What's your bonus for favorite enemy?
4.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
22.
So if these are the same creatures that you've heard of, then this fits and lines up perfectly because you've heard of something called a vitreous drinker that has the ability to steal people's eyesight. Um, from what you understand, if it licks you, it steals your eyesight. And what's more, there are rumors, unconfirmed rumors, that they can see out of the eyes of their victims. You're not sure how much of this is superstition, because one hasn't been reported in a long, long time, and they're more myth and legend uh, than visceral reality that you've dealt with before or heard of anybody dealing with. But what you like, they do from what you know about them, like piecing this together, they make perfect. They would make these vitreous drinkers would make perfect spies if you wanted to infiltrate a city. Being able to see out of the eyes of one's victims, if true, would would certainly explain Basbier's relations that they cause chaos and panic within a city. Because if you know what half the population is doing because you can see through their eyes, that'd give you a lot of breadth to cause a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So,
Archer, I have a question.
but you've heard that they're
Yeah.
extraordinarily dangerous.
How big are those creatures you're talking about? Like, how would they be transported into a city?
Yeah, Archer would have basically been plot dumping all of that to everybody. how are they usually described? Or is it one of those legends cases where sometimes they're like, and it was as small as a mouse and was the downfall of an entire kingdom. Meanwhile, Joe down the street's like, I think it was about the size of me house.
It's hard to pin down. It's really hard to pin down exactly from what you guys know, but you haven't heard anything suggesting that it was extraordinarily large or extraordinarily small.
Enters the city like a thief in the night, takes up home in the refuse of the city, claims its eyesight, acts as security acts as surveillance for the whole place. We're dealing
Could it
with
be the
something.
crows?
Aye, maybe the crows. We're dealing with something smart, something dangerous.
The crows wouldn't be going into the sewers, though.
You have
The
this.
crows are someone watching us on the surface.
You definitely have the notion that no one who is actually like part of the reason your like accounts aren't very descriptive is aren't as good as they could have been is because simply most accounts there really aren't a lot of accounts of people surviving this thing. Most of them come from accounts of people who are considered heroes who only spoke of it on their deathbed or wild rumors. Like it's not reported that like it was a well-known fact. Like for you, Basbeer, it's like it's a thing that the dwarves noticed because the dwarves, had something similar, and dwarves are a little more resistant, a little hardier than most human folk and whatnot, and probably the ancient Ithurans had business and dealings with human, elven, and other civilized lands and watched this go down. But like normal citizens, like there's no accounting of so and so who was kind of, who barely survived but was otherwise a nobody. It's always people who are powerful heroes that, are speaking like long after the fact. Yeah. So, like, whatever they are, they're extraordinarily dangerous.
We
Yeah, I
need
think.
to be careful.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we need to be careful.
Aye. If this is a harbinger of doom, which I'm quite familiar with, well, I suppose that puts one more thing on our docket of fate we must unwind. Perhaps we should go to Ovri O'Canther.
Perhaps he knows more.
And
I
if he
do have
doesn't,
one thing, enough I'm assuming, though. I don't think Rassen has anything to do with this.
you think that this is a grander design?
Rassen is too, from everything we've seen, too blunt of an instrument for something like this. Rassen is a bear. He runs in and he mauls his way through a problem. We're dealing with something far, far smarter. There's a hunter in these woods, and he's putting down his traps.
Oh, I love that quote. That's very,
That's
very
good.
on brand. That's so
Yeah.
on brand. I like it.
That's sick. I think Basbeer probably says, we need resources, or at least to be back at full strength. Probably says, the Duke's brother might be able to provide us with something. And even if not, more people being aware of this problem means that if we aren't able to solve it, someone else will be better equipped too.
Or at the very least, it might force their hand.
Kinda nods and says, aye. Perhaps we should seek counsel from this Duke's brother.
Are we
What
currently
if-
being watched by a crow?
What was the question?
If we're currently being watched by a crow, raven, whatever,
Hmm.
a corvid.
Get a you can all make spot checks to see if you see any ravens or crows around.
Then with that +4, it will be a 14.
21.
Nice.
Yeah. Callahan,
Yeah.
I'm really glad you have your aura.
Yeah.
So, at this point, I think Basbeer, Saren, you both notice that there is a group of crows or ravens on, sort of on one of the lamp posts, not too far away from your villa. And one of them does seem to be acting abnormally. Now that you kind of know what you're looking for, a little easier to see. But as soon as it seems to see it, but it doesn't seem disturbed by the fact that you notice it.
Can't wait to be rid of this country. Eyes everywhere.
You get used to it. Anyway, so I have a thought process. What if the brother released it to take down the older brother? Or never mind. I'm
Do you
just
think
saying
that? Do you
the
think that Aubrey? Oh, go ahead.
I don't know. He just seemed just unhappy that his brother's like on top. But I mean, he's cool. He's been good to me. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to take his brother down, and now he wants you all to shift the blame somewhere else so it doesn't fall back on him. Just saying.
Not impossible. However, we have seen that the forces of Vestia are very keen on infiltration. Look at
Yeah,
the Happy Eaters Club.
Hmm.
Yep.
They
They
subvert and pervert whatever the city is known for. Whether it be wealth, or perhaps in the case of this lovely place, everyone's incessant on spying.
'Tis a fate that is quite appropriate, one might say. Probably
There
staring at the crow.
is nothing appropriate about the undead.
Kind of says,
Should we maybe like shoot one of those crows and study it?
Are
I
you gonna
mean-
try to shoot a crow?
Not me. I don't have that accuracy.
I don't have a ranged weapon.
I have ranged weapons, but I don't really feel like doing it. Because they're my thought, and probably Archer's thought and my thought, is that they're not necessarily physical creatures. It's almost like a
Was Archer state
mage.
that?
Yeah, he probably would at some point. He's like, I don't think these crows are real. Magical, maybe, but not physical.
Basbeer's just staring at this crow the whole time.
Yeah, it pecks at the lamppost.
Yeah.
It
Go
seems
ahead.
rather performative.
Definite furrowed face at this thing.
Yeah.
And probably Basbeer, for like probably the first time, will address the guard that's around him, that's around the house, and be like, Have you noticed have you noticed a surplus of crows and ravens in the area?
He's like, you just came back from the lower quarter. Of course, their birds probably followed us up here, probably looking for food.
And he just goes back inside.
Yeah.
Says,
Yeah.
well,
Archer looks at the crow and in a very ranger way is giving it a unspoken word of I see you
Mm-hmm.
and I know the kind of man you are.
Okay. It just sort of pecks at the lamppost in a rather performative looking way.
It goes caw.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Throat
it
clearing
doesn't
and everything.
it does not seem to be particularly concerned.
Shall we seek
Oh
out
yeah,
an
I don't
audience?
expect it to be, but you gotta
Yeah.
let real know real.
Yep, yeah, understandable.
I think Bazbear goes, shall we seek out an audience? Spread the word?
Oh, it was already my impression that everyone had heard the word.
Oh no. We're not
Let's
Family Guy funny moments.
Family Guy funny moments number 49.
Yeah.
so you guys are gonna send word that you'd like a meeting with with Avrio Cantor then?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, and while you're kind of like you send a messenger off, and while you're waiting, like you hear a knock at the door.
I go and answer the door.
It's Lord Jan. It's young Master Jan Stubel and Sir Vitmore.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you see, they were there at the court when everything went down. They fought their share. I think Jan's probably when you guys open the door, Saren opens the door. Jan says like, ah, he goes, Mr. Saren, if it was Mr. Saren, yes, or
Yeah.
Mirator. He goes, ah, he goes, it is good to see that you are well. He goes, well, is there a we have come to check on your check on and see how you all are. 'Cause we were a little concerned. You had to carry one of your own out on carry one of your own out, and it looked like you had taken a bit of a fight. He goes, he's like,
And
may I?
we passed. He's like, yeah, we all passed. We all did good. We did good. Yeah,
He looked,
he's resting a little bit. But come on in.
yeah,
Have a seat.
so,
We're
yeah,
just
he comes.
relaxing.
Yeah, he comes in. He goes, he's like, as soon as he comes in, like he greets the rest, he greets the rest of you. And Sir Vitmore, for his part, seems rather like he doesn't seem to let his guard down at this point. Like he's just not. He's on guard. Um, Not necessarily towards you guys, but he seems to be keeping an eye around him fairly significantly. Jon Stu was like, ah, Mr. Tiller. He goes, Mr. Forteller. He goes, it has been some time, yes. We have not seen you since the Malkane, since Malberg.
Lovely place to run into each other, isn't it?
He goes, unfortunately, my diplomatic tour has forced me to stop here. He goes, I was worried about you all. You seem to have been right in the thick of it, right by the throne. I was a little worried.
Not the worst we've had. Not the best.
It is a yeah.
What
Go ahead.
were
Sorry.
those things? I've been meaning to ask somebody. They weren't
Because
elves.
I'm not entirely certain myself. It was rather strange. They had He goes, very strange beings. They were persistent. No?
Basbeer will speak up because he passed the planes check.
Yeah.
He'll say,
He passed. You know, that's what I say every time I get past TSA. I pass
yeah,
the
pass the
planes
planes
check.
check.
There you go.
But yeah, Basbeer says, they were Githyanki.
Bless you.
He kind of chuckles and says, no, they are close to interdimensional mercenaries, pirates, raiders. Says, whatever their auspices for arriving, that cannot be good. Feel we are caught in a larger scale plot. But I've been keeping my nose directly to what's in front of me at the moment.
Yeah, I think.
I think Arthur just has this very dumb, blank look on his face because, as far as Arthur knows, outside of like magical planes, like the ethereal plane existing to some degree, or things like the shadow plane, this is the first he's heard that there are like other beings that live out there.
Yeah,
He's like, uh-huh.
we've had record of them in our record hall, so to say, for centuries. At one point they played a larger part, but well, we haven't seen any on Tumbledark in quite some time, he says, kind of chuckling.
These mercenary raiders from different planes of existence.
Aye.
That does not roll off the tongue well.
So they're... Why would they be here? Just to play the part for this Baron's strange game of proving... Or the Duke's strange game of proving that he can kill us with a thought?
My thoughts... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
My thoughts are that this was twofold. A previous engagement that we found ourselves in the middle of. I doubt that he would be hiring these people just so that he could kill them. I wouldn't put it past him, except for the fact that it doesn't smack of anything resourceful.
He goes, Stubel's like, he goes, the court of cancer is a strange place. We have heard a great many rumors about it over the years, but then again, there has been so much strife between the Baronet of Stubel, the Duchy of Cancer, and the Earldom of Gister that it is hard to take anything quite as literal. I can scarce believe it myself, but it would see to the man's reputations that he would have multiple fronts going on at any given time. He's a very ambitious man and would probably has the interest to extend farther than we're aware of. If there are interplanar mercenaries coming after him, that is. He's like, how is your friend Miss Kraz? I understand she was severely hurt in the fight.
Recovering. And leaving it a little bit clipped at that.
Yeah. Basbeer will take a warmer tact because he likes these people, and he's already been like, "Hey, I'm gonna when we have power, we're going to back your your political ambition, right?"
Mm-hmm.
So Basbeer's going to say, "She's under direct care of me, and I have 222 years of experience in healing, so she'll be treated just fine."
That is good to hear. I would hate to have seen, he goes, I rather like your group. would hate for anything bad to happen to you. He says, because there is he says, you must stop in at stop in at Castle Stubble at some point in your travels. You'll find you'll find a much warmer welcome since you have found in the court of Alcantara, I'm sure you that. Because
If everything is going as we believe it is, we most certainly will be stopping by at some point.
he goes, but he goes, and I'm certain your pilot will, Vidiplok will forewarn you, but you do not wish to fly in. You will need to ride in on horse. He goes, old Girbin Tarth does not take well to people invading his airways, his skies.
Archer just quirks a brow, unfamiliar with that name.
Yeah. Basbeer says, "Do tell."
Sarah, you can make a knowledge local check if you would like to see if you recognize this. It's something that the Duchy of Acantor would be well. Oh yeah, you know who old Girbin Tarth is, and this is as he explains to the rest of the group. You're like, oh yep, I know. Girbin Tarth. He is a very old and very insane dragon. For whatever reason, he defends our borders against attacks.
Dragon.
I've been told there is a reason for this that I will be eventually let in on, but I have never had any contact with him myself, and his attacks seem to be random. For whatever reason, he does not seem to bother natives of Stubble overly much. Once in a while, he'll raid some farms, have some cattle will go missing, but it is a small price to pay for the added insurance against the aggression of Ocantor.
Clandestine deals with ancient, insane dragons. Your baronet interests me more and more by the day.
He goes,
You're
I'm not
all
entirely-
insane. Saying it in a very northern way of you guys work with dragons?
Don't get me wrong, there is no formal agreement that I am aware of. It seems that Girbin Tarth, for whatever reason, has at some point had some contact with my house, and since that time he has gone after just about anyone from Alcanzar or Gister that has attempted to enter our lands in force. He goes,
Remind me to stay on your good side.
we have no control over what the dragon does, so work with him. Likely we benefit from his protection, but I'm not entirely certain as to why this is. My father has told me he would tell me the tale one day, but to this time, he has kept quite quiet on the matter.
To parley with a dragon? Quite bold. I would wish to do so myself one day. Basbeer says, kind of with a slight grin on his face.
We have a saying up north: never make a deal with a dragon.
It's even an option?
Jan shrugs his shoulders. As I have said, I could not tell you the details of why any of this is. But I can
This is
tell.
beside the point.
He says, it very much is. As long as you are riding in as guests and you're not coming with a large military force, Girbintarth is likely to leave you alone more often than not.
Of course, we would also like to bring to your attention that as this has caused us friction here, we are officially on the merit of the Baron of Mulcain. That should be said before we enter.
He says, he goes, we have no we have no conflict with the barony of Malkane. We don't even have any conflict with the house that he took possession, or that he bought his lands and title from. In fact, I was in Malberg discussing the possibility of trade, although it would require getting Gister, some assurances with either Gister or Okancer. We would have to travel through either one of those countries to get there. Yes. But we remain hopeful that Baron Malkane, that's a good Baron, would be amenable to showing some favor to us as Venzar Lord Councils. At least here are our assessments and our requests in matters that we do not get a vote on.
I cannot speak directly for the Baron, but as I have said before, your ambitions are reasonable, and are ambitions that I would, well, personally have staken.
He goes, I do appreciate this. He goes, but enough of matters of state. I have actually brought something of special from the homeland. And he pulls off his pack. He pulls off the pack he's carrying, and he rummages around, and he pulls out a rather large flask, and he's like, "This is Flargashen. It is our local ale from Stubble." He goes, I bring to you, I offer to share this flask with you. He goes, after all, after our stop here, we are headed home where I can always have more, and I missed the chance to truly have to truly drink with you under more informal circumstances.
I think Archer smiles like, it'd be a faux pas not to drink.
Yeah. And he's like, so he uncorks it and takes a drink, and he hands it to you. He says, to your health and your success, and to the swift recovery of Miss Cross, and hands you the flask, Archer. Or whoever
Aye.
happens to be closest to him.
Bottoms up, good harvests, all that stuff. takes a good drink.
It is a very thick and rich ale. Like it's got a very rich flavor to it. He goes, you won't find its like in Okancer or farther north. We see some trade with Gister. He goes, they seem to like it, particularly in Lawnweave. Some in Lexfair.
I've never met a beer that I couldn't call a friend.
He kind of chuckles at that, and he says, he goes, I'll drink to that. But yeah, he's willing to let the flask pass around to everyone. He's got like a second flask too.
Archer will pass to those who wish to imbibe.
Yeah, Bazbeer politely
Callahan-
steps out of the circle.
Yeah, it's like Callahan also does not imbibe.
Pussies!
Like, that's what I'm thinking, is you start to hand it, and Saren and everybody else is like, nah, we're good.
Yeah. And to Rowan's point, this is the first character I think I've ever played who is a moderate or a temperate. So cut me some slack, damn it.
Right? There you go.
We here at Paradise Theater don't tolerate none of that pussy shit.
Yeah, true.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's one from the vault.
Oh, Lord.
Oh man.
So Yeah, you get, but yeah, he's willing to sit and drink and talk with you and just sort of hang out. Like
Oh yeah, Archer's always down to clown when it
yeah,
comes to liquor.
yeah, he's here more for a social visit than anything. Like
I think
you guys made a positive impression on Jan Stubel, Master Jan Stubel, and to some extent Sir Vitmore. Although Sir Vitmore politely takes one or two drinks here and there, but he remains super vigilant.
understandable. Um, Basbeer will specifically tell these guys, like, hey, while you're here, stay out of the lower quarter.
Mhm.
Stay away from any sewer entrances. And if they ask, he'll elaborate. Like, he doesn't think that this needs to be a secret. This
Yeah.
is
No, Archer will be just the same and tell them to avoid, like, keep an eye on birds. That there seems to be some sort of conspiracy of ravens, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. I think Vitmore really like leans into like the to your warnings in terms of like uh he nods very sincerely every time you guys like give a warning about like the anything, and he's like um I think any of you who want to make a sense motive and a sense motive on Sir Fitmore probably can here.
sure.
Sure.
Still have my
Why
aura.
not?
It's technically always on when I need it.
16.
Oh, nope.
All
That's
right.
11. Doesn't matter.
With a +4, it becomes a 12.
All right. Well,
Unless
in
he's an
that,
undead.
Callahan with the modifier, what does it do for Saren and Callahan?
It's still +4. All wisdom checks.
No, I mean like what does that put your checks at, Saren and Callahan?
Oh, mine, it's up to 11.
Mine would be
Okay.
10.
Yeah, mine's a
All right.
16.
I think you all pretty much realize it's not super hard to realize, but he internally he probably has that same feeling of I don't like it here. This place is full of eyes always watching. Like he's you all realize that he's tapped into the same kind of paranoia that you guys have been feeling creeping in, that like he's he's feeling that we're being watched so at all times sort of thing, and it's got him super on guard. um you know but he also mostly maintains a very polite stance. He's like he and vigilant but polite. He's very the picture of like um, maybe Saren and Callahan. Both of you come from like training that really like is all about physical and personal discipline, and you can recognize that is very strong in him.
We find ourselves in wise and prepared company then.
Yeah, like he's very prepared, like, or he's very invested in like self discipline. It looks like, um, you know, so you can imagine that. But I think otherwise, the evening will pass relatively uneventful. Other than getting to have a social visit, hanging out with Master Stubel and Sir Vitmore. Um,
And just to remind me, his dad's like infirm, but still alive, and that's why he's master and not lord, right?
No, his dad is. There's been no suggestion that his dad is infirm.
Oh, okay. I
He's
must have, yeah.
no. He will like when he introduced himself. He was trying to make clear that he is the first time he was trying to make clear that he is the heir to the Stubel, to
Mm,
House Stubel, but he is not the master of it, so he can't make the big decisions.
sure.
He can
Yeah.
make decisions up to a point, but for like total commitment of material resources or goods, he'd have to go through his dad.
Okay, that's fine. It's
You know,
still good to make friends with the heir.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
Well,
Yeah.
we're making good with the air. In a little bit, we'll be making good with the spare.
there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get a nice evening of hanging out. Stubble probably, Jans probably regales you with tales of like the bravery of the Knights of the Bitter Pass. Sir Vitmore does not expound upon these. Like notably, as a member of the Knights of the Bitter Pass, he notably does not add anything to these tales. He just lets Yonce, he lets his Lord, he lets Master Stubble um talk about it, but he himself remains rather tight-lipped about it. He's friendly enough, but his discipline doesn't allow him to crack, a whole lot, especially where he feels that there's some level of danger,
What's the saying? Discretion is the better part of valor.
something like that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but yeah, old, but I think after a while, Jans and his man leave to go back to their accommodations and whatnot. And in the morning, you guys are kind of getting up and around. And I think um, there is a point where you in the morning, um, where I think you, Basbeer, get a visitor. Well, a pair of visitors.
Mm-hmm.
The little blue goblin who
Mm.
introduced himself as Olnak and his heavily cloaked and covered friend stop by um, asking for you, and they're like, "Here's, would you care to take a walk in the garden?"
Basbeer will nod and say, "Of course."
Yeah, and he'll give you a he'll walk with you a bit, and he's got the he's quiet at first. The silence punctuated really mostly by your footsteps and the occasional wet cough from Olnak's companion. Um, he he kind of he spares his companion a glance every now and again, but he looks at you. He says, and he's like, I think he's like, I feel that someone probably owes your group a bit of explanation. I will attempt to give you one about the other night. Osprey Ocanther is not likely to tell you any more than he feels is necessary. I, however, am under no such restriction, and he holds no dominion over me. Yeah, those House Ocanther is sworn to a charge to deal with threats that you would consider very external. Osprey won't speak of this to anyone, nor will he explain himself. Keeps even his younger brother in the dark. Not entirely. I believe his older sister was brought into the know, but she renounced her claim to leadership of House Ocanther. So, while she's aware, her involvement is negligible. House Ocanther is there is a gathering, a group of institutions and individuals that are devoted to keeping an eye on external threats. I am a member of said group. Osprey Ocanther has inherited his position. There are others across the world that share in this. And he kind of chuckles. brotherhood, if you will. He goes, that attack was not random, I'm afraid. There are forces at work, forces that have infected areas around here and farther south that represent these external threats. Because from what I've seen, your destiny lies in a different direction than these external threats. However, I would ask that you are that I would ask that if you are able to be of some assistance, that you consider as much. We have reason to believe that there are influence in Gister. One of the lords there has, one of the lords or ladies there has some connection to these external threats. If you hear of anything, we are spread a bit thin at this moment. Perhaps if you hear of anything or are able to produce any, find or procure any proof, you'd be willing to pass that along. O'Cantor, of course, has his suspicions. As for the attack the other night, that I afraid has only a little bit of involvement with House O'Cantor. They were looking for me, my friend and I'm afraid. This is, we'll be moving on. We were here under protection of O'Cantor. I felt it wise to apologize to you that you got involved in such matters. Although I'm sure O'Cantor had many reasons for making sure certain individuals were present. It was not my associate or I's intent that you were necessarily involved. He says, but I thought I would extend an apology on our behalf for you having to be involved or in such business. He goes, if it makes you feel any better, this one hides a secret almost as, and in some ways perhaps more disturbing than the secret that your own party hides with one of your members.
Seems that secret is more open than I would like it to be.
Not necessarily. He goes, bear it in mind that my kind possesses no shortage of psychic powers as well. I simply try to be very polite about it. He goes, he goes, I think he says, I would be willing to offer some reward on the behalf of our association if you were to bring us any proof of any lords or ladies that may have connections to external threats. He goes, and he's like, and he goes, I think he's like, I assure you, our paths will cross again for you to be able to deliver such message and us to deliver such reward, and perhaps we can arrange some level of aid in your endeavors. Though I would caution you that it comes with a certain amount of wariness that needs to be observed. He goes, I may know some people that may help add to your resources when the time comes. He goes, But for now, all I can say is this. I apologize to you, and I apologize to your friends. And please allow them to carry my apologies to them. Some of them I don't believe would be fairly well receptive. He
If
goes,
you do not serve the Duke, then who do you call master?
he kind of chuckles at it. He goes, that's an interesting question. I more call my cause my master than any individual. In truth, I could be considered something of an outcast even among my own brethren. And he kind of chuckles with that. All of my brethren. He goes, he goes, it is the whole reason why my associate is my associate, and the whole reason that I am offering my associate my guidance. He goes, outcast among my own kind, outcast among the brotherhood, something of an outcast among the brotherhood that protects against the external threats. I follow the cause in my own way.
Are
I don't
these... Oh, go ahead.
I don't work for Ocanther, but Ocanther owes some loyalty and some debt to our association.
Are these external threats linked to the threat that I face?
Not in any direct way, no. He goes, that's why I'm only asking for your help in uncovering agents of their interests rather than asking you to join our cause. You have more important you have things to consider. You have a duty to fulfill that is at least as important as the one that we fulfill.
And what are the ends of these external forces? How am I supposed to identify them if I don't know them?
Well, for one thing, he goes, the external forces we've been fighting, it's unknowable what their end goals are or if they even have end goals. He goes, but splinters of theirs, splinters will have their hands in certain things. The Githyanki, they're just a tool. They're pawns. They don't even know who was paying the one that pay. They don't even know who was giving the orders to those who paid them. Because we believe that there are possibly a circle of illithids that are a splinter from the larger threat we face that may have their that may have influence within Gister somewhere.
One would expect it to be in the place where psionics are most common, he says, kind of gesturing around.
That's why House Ocanther has the charge that they have. And that's probably why Ocanther is paranoid about controlling psionics in these all across these lands. He goes, however, his strongest reach is within his own borders, outside of which, and particularly in Gister, where there's been a bit of political instability. And while they are more unified now, it would be the perfect area for any kind of external threats to have taken their root. They'd be facing the cults that you face in the north if they were to try farther north in much greater regard. Because there'd be a much larger conflict they'd have to deal with there. And the land of Gister has always been extraordinarily antagonistic to the lands of Ocanther. Cultural differences, the houses are directly opposed to each other. perfect breeding ground, if you ask me. Where better to start a campaign against someone that you need removed than in the hands, than under the shadow of someone who also considers them an enemy.
Direct opposition might breed innovation, or people taking power where they shouldn't. I've one more question for you.
He nods.
Why us?
What do you mean, why you? In what regard?
Why have you helped us? Why are you asking us for help?
Well, you're mobile. You have more access politically than most people we could trust. And whereas my associate and I would be well monitored and well noted the moment we entered Gister, maybe not even by those who would, maybe not even by those directly opposed to us, but that word might get around. You move a great deal more freely than we do. He goes, he goes, as to why to help you, why we would help you, well, wouldn't do us any good to observe our own charges of protection if a front that we weren't covering were to fall, now would it? If we protect the world from far external threats, it behooves us to be on good terms with those who are protecting it from more direct threats.
You put a great deal more trust in us than most that we've run into.
He goes, I've seen a few things. He goes, he goes, uh, those with divine powers are not the only ones that can see and peer into the future. Let's just say I've been a few places, I know a few people, and I understand a few things. He goes, he goes, I don't know the full picture of what may come of this, but I understand enough threads to see that from everything I've heard so far and seen, you carry with you people who seem very, very tied to what's going on. The gods don't just turn a blind eye to such things. Figure there's got to be a reason someone like you was sent out of a closed community. From what I understand, your people have been locked up for hundreds, perhaps even thousands of years, yes?
Aye.
And you are spurred to action by a goddess of prophecy?
Aye.
Well, even if my sources or I do not gain our visions of the future from the same source, we respect that when the goddess of prophecy moves, well, there's a reason for it.
Basbeer kind of runs his fingers through his beard, pensively, and says, I know not whether I can call you a full-blooded ally, but your words carry wisdom. Thank you.
He says, he goes, allow me to thank you as well. You do your part to keep the world safe, and I will see to it that I do mine. And he reaches a hand out.
Yeah, Basbeer will shake his hand.
Yeah. He says, I'm pleased to have been the one to be able to make your acquaintance, Mr. Foreteller. And he goes, and he looks at, and this is maybe punctuated by yet another wet cough from his companion.
Yeah, he says, probably says, likewise, you've given me much to bring back to my people.
He nods and he says, On the subject of your people, I got a feeling that you'll see your people whole again. If
Bazbeer
anyone,
gets. Oh, go ahead.
because if anyone can do it, from what I've seen, from the futures I've seen, if anybody can do it, it'd be you.
Bazbeer gets a kind of. It's hard to describe. Like, probably like a very. Not grim, but like stoic expression on his face, and he kind of nods. You know, he's like clearly not projecting his emotions right now.
Yeah.
And says, "Great deal of faith," he says as he chuckles, and he'll start to walk back towards the villa.
I think Olnak, as you walk away, gets we get like a brief scene of him looking at his companion as you're walking away and says, and he's like, who would have thought? A priest who is amazed by faith. And he kind of chuckles at this joke to himself, and he and his
Got him.
companion leave.
That's
And
good.
Yeah, he goes, but yeah, I think you eventually what are the rest of you doing while Bazbeer is walking in the garden with Olnak and his companion?
I was checking on Avaria.
All right, yeah, all right. What's Archer doing?
Archer's keeping a bird watch.
I'm just watching the birds.
Yeah,
Alright.
making sure that the hellbirds aren't spying too hard, or if they are, just trying to learn more about them through observation.
Yeah, they occasionally change places or positions, and sometimes you're not even sure that the fake bird is the same fake bird that you last saw, but it does seem like there is a watch being kept on the house. Mostly kept at a distance, but, you and seems to be nonchalant about the fact that you're aware that you're being watched.
Mm-hmm.
Theron's cleaning the house.
You know. But as far as it goes, Arthur, you almost get the impression every now and again that it mocks your awareness of the fact that you're being watched by being very by there are times where its actions seem so performative you feel like it's mocking you for knowing that it's there.
Uh-huh.
A maddening facsimile.
Mhm. Very
Yeah.
maddening. But eventually,
Arthur is
yeah.
very much trying to use this as an opportunity to observe them and
Mhm.
potentially learn of them.
Okay, yeah. The impression you're getting is that you're being watched in a somewhat casual manner. Somebody knows enough not to get too close, but also doesn't seem to care that you know.
Right.
You know, um, which you can infer whatever you want from that. The I think eventually a messenger from Avrio Cantor arrives um, to tell you that he's ready to meet with you.
All right. I think that's when we go.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. I think that Bazbeer probably also, while we're traveling to Aubrey O'Canther, Bazbeer pulls Arthur aside.
Okay.
And basically expresses to him what the conversation that he just had was. Probably leaving out the like, oh, you're probably gonna make your people whole part. And basically say there are larger powers at hand, powers larger than the dukes and duchesses and baronets. All of that. There are parts larger that are observing us, asking of us things to do.
Right. And this all has to do with these Gith Yankees or whatever.
These
Yeah, I
dang
think.
Yankees.
I
As
hate
Beer
those
says.
Yankees. I'm more
Damn
of a
Gith
Red
Yankee.
Sox fan.
The damn Gith Yankees.
But
This
yeah,
plane was nice until they showed up.
Basbeer says, they appear to be more of a symptom than the overall disease. I get the idea that there is a greater war going on, but ours is important in our own way. And he says, there is rumor that in the earldom of Gister, there are forces at play. Illithids, mind flayer.
Slow blink.
Says, if we are to produce evidence of this, perhaps even solve the problem, these larger powers have said that they would be willing to aid us in our conquest, or defense, more appropriately.
What is a mind flayer?
Basbeer says, we've much record of these things. Says, they're a hazard of the place that I live. And he probably says, think creature that sustains itself off of sapient thought.
It eats people's brains?
Aye. And also, most mind flayers belong to, well, I'm assuming I would know this from the Underdark, right? Is that fair to say?
I think you could probably take a little license here.
Yeah, okay. I don't wanna run away with something that I'd need to make a check for. But
Like to come up with specific powers, then there's a check. But like you
Yeah.
can rumors and stuff that you've heard.
right. I've heard we've heard tell. We fight, but not often, and it hasn't been for a while. But we hear tell that they operate as a hive mind. Many operating under the guise of one. Great brain powers these things have. Not dissimilar to the regent of this area.
And not dissimilar to the way that Vestia works.
Probably nods at that and says, there are threats abound at every corner. It's a wonder that we have not stumbled over more of them in our careless traipsing.
I'm sure we have plenty of time for that still, Basbier. I'd keep your mouth shut about it.
Basbeer says, I can't control what I've been told, he says as he continues to walk.
We'll see what we can do. But we have to keep Vestia at the forefront of our minds. Even these mind flayers couldn't stop a true invasion. There's no mind for them to consume.
Yeah, I think that Basbeer probably thinks about that for a second and goes, hadn't considered that.
If we're not
Just-
careful, all of this will disappear. And all that'll be left will be soil and rotting meat.
Yeah, Basbeer will shudder, having a vision flashback for a brief moment. I imagine he has those every once in a while, not just when he's sleeping. He says, aye, just more food for thought in a banquet.
He just sighs and looks up at the sky. And here I am, not even drunk enough to vomit and go again.
I think you managed to make it to Castle O'Canter, and the guards, of course, are kind of getting used to seeing you a little bit because you've been in and out for a few days now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and most of them, like, they don't necessarily greet you guys warmly. They just kind of, they're like, "Oh, it's you again," kind of situation.
Yeah.
But like, um, with the exception of Saren, whom they treat with a bit more respect. Actually, they treat him with a bit more caution than anything else. Um, like, you're like they're polite and respectful to him, but you know, you can get a little bit of that cautious side eye when they are dealing with him too, like that. This guy is, you know, got some importance. Um,
He's got the brain power too.
they But yeah, they lead you back through to Avery's wing, and he's got like a nice brunch set out, like different kinds of like muffins and tea cakes and things like that. A couple of different teapots, that are obviously being kept warm. Um, Like, there's something you notice about Avery is that he does seem to try to make an effort to like really be like nice to his guests. Like um he doesn't spare any expense in being a host. Uh it's like but you come in and he's kind of there waiting. He's like, come in, come in. He goes, Mr. Tiller. Haven't had a chance to formally meet you or speak with you one on one. He goes, sit down, sit down. Have you help yourself to whatever you see here that you would like. He gestures to the assortment of pastries and whatnot on the table. There's a little bit of breakfast food too, like some
I think
ha-
Arthur looks
ham
almost
and stuff.
taken aback because he's like, "Ain't no way this is Ocanther's brother."
It's like, he's like, but he waits for you all to, grab whatever refreshments you want and take a seat and before
Yeah,
he
he
himself
actually
sits.
probably does make a reference to that. Where it's like, I see where all of the forgive me, I can see where all of the ass hattery in the family didn't land.
He kind of chuckles at that. He goes, not an uncommon reaction from foreigners. He goes, I understand my brother can be a bit difficult. He's a little distant and calculating, and he does love a grand deal of theater. But I can tell you one thing. Your show of loyalty to your friend Avaria made an impression on him. If there's one thing my brother does respect, it's loyalty. Sarah,
Yeah,
Sarah,
Archer's
do
eyes
you?
got a little wide for a moment. They're like,
Yeah, Basbier and Archer just like lock eyes for a second.
Like,
In fact, Archer probably does
Wow.
have a very small, quiet, like Basbeer or whoever else is close enough just hears him kind of go,
he's like, he goes, Sarah, to you, this feels a little like an understatement in that he values loyalty. Like you very much see it as like you've been very much taught to see it as he the most loyal of his servants. He will like respect. Like he has like as paranoid as he is. Loyalty is a very a trait that he like looks for very hard. Um,
I put a
there's
hand on Saren's shoulder with that
yeah,
statement.
like uh, and he's like, and Callahan, you can certainly understand why people in a position of of the elevated position like Duke O'Canthor's would value loyalty because any lord would value loyalty because there's always somebody working against you. Um, he goes, he goes, he says Osprey said he wasn't certain you'd stand quite so hard for Miss Cross. He goes, and he goes, I didn't. He goes, for the record, I didn't know anything about what was about to happen until it happened, and then afterwards. He goes, and he goes, my apologies. He goes, and he kind of chuckles, and he kind of says, and he's like, so I understand you wanted to speak to me about something.
We've been investigating what's been going on with this blindness plague, and I'm coming to an unfortunate conclusion.
He leans
Vestians
forward.
are involved.
He looks absolutely shocked at this. He's like, Vestians? This far south?
A preliminary thing. You ever heard of something called a vitreous drinker?
He thinks for a minute. He goes, no. He goes, I don't believe I have.
Used to be. I thought that they were just the tales of drunkards. But, well, I suppose they still are, as this drunkard will explain to you. They're creatures, undead, that feed upon the eyes of their victims. They see what their victims see through their dead eyes.
He goes, he listens to this and he's like, and you have, what brings you to this belief? What has brought you to this?
Plague is centered around the sewers. Somewhere underground, somewhere easy for these creatures to den. Not only that, but as we've been investigating, we've been seeing birds watching us.
Birds?
I'd also like to point out, you know how your brother is about, well, at least this town alone, how our structure of our sewer system is. You know how it is, so it can't be from that. I'm just pointing that out too. So it has to be an external creature.
We've done a great deal of research. The plague is not earthly, nor is it necessarily arcane. However, clear there is something, not there is someone or something causing this. And as we've received profiles of bad dreams that are shared amongst these poor people, there is a greater than zero chance that this is one of the creatures. They lather up a population, spy upon them, and weaken them, impregnating the sides of the cask, so to say, swelling the barrel, getting it ready for the eventual breaking.
He's like, I think he's like, he sits, I think he sits back, kind of like taken aback, and he goes, how do we deal with such a thing? And furthermore, how would the sewer workers have not found or reported such a creature? He goes, he's like, it's like, where? He goes, this is, if what you're saying is true, this is beyond, what I expected. I thought we were dealing with a simple plague. It was, he goes, I think he says, well, he goes, I don't have any ability to command any forces from he goes, I don't have access to the manpower to sweep the sewers, and Somehow I think my brother would object to a large operation. He wouldn't want to upset or worry the population unnecessarily. I think he'd handle it with a surgical strike.
Part of the reason we come to you is that we plan on dealing with this, with or without resources gathered. However, it must be known what is down there. It must be common knowledge, at least amongst those who have the power to do something,
He goes,
just in case.
you make a good point, and if it's undead, well, he goes, we don't have a lot of clerics around here. And he kind of looks at you, Basri. He goes, you're probably the only one I can think of within outside of the castle cleric. Or a great number of for a great number of for a great number of miles. There's maybe a couple of minor clerics and tucked away in places here and there, but he goes, but I don't imagine they have the experience in fighting undead that your team has. He goes, I will personally pay a bounty if you can deal with this creature and bring proof of it back. He goes, he's like, if you can bring at least, he goes, if you can drive the creature out, bring back proof of some, that, and potentially bring back proof, I would pay handsomely for such. And I imagine that while my brother may or may not believe the story or may not consider it worth his time, if you handle it and there is proof that you handled a problem, I could use that to maybe help sway him to to view your presence here a bit more favorably.
I think Basbeer probably says, to sway a man who holds court with a kill hand.
He goes, I doubt that he saw Rassen as anything more than a means to an end.
You'll understand if we still find it strange.
Well, certainly. He goes, he goes, I understand your conflict with them, and I understand the importance of it. I don't know that my brother necessarily sees it as nearly as large a problem as Baron Malkane does.
I don't see it. He has a reason for everything he does. Just saying. Sorry.
Oh, that is true. He goes, he says, and I think he kind of says, he says, I don't know what resources I could provide you with on the front end of this. Maybe a handful of healing potions. He goes, he goes, outside of that, I'm not entirely certain. He goes, I don't know what type of foe this drinker is, what kind of equipment you would necessarily need, so potentially the basics. He goes, although it might be smart to see if you can't gain some access to the sewer workers' office, the director of sewer works in that quarter's office. Perhaps they know more than perhaps they know something, whether they know it or not.
At least
Maybe,
they might have a map.
well,
Diagram.
they'll definitely have a map. If you're lucky, they may even have sections marked off of no-go areas that would help you narrow your search.
Something like that would be useful. I think it might be smart for us to try and scout out these places, find their dens, prove that they exist, then use that to our advantage. Either sending in more skilled hunters, or at least proving to your brother that Vesti is a greater threat than he once surmised.
I could potentially give you an opening to break into the director of sewer workers' office. I know I'm not a priest, but I sometimes hold services for those who wish to attend. My brother does not necessarily interfere with these, being that it's me. He frowns on them, but he doesn't interfere. If I were to hold a service in that quarter, the director, the director would be sure to come.
A service in the lower quarter. Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm suggesting that I could hold a service in the lower quarter near the sewer works offices. Declare it an official holiday. That would leave the offices open for you to get into.
You would be putting yourself at a great amount of risk bringing yourself to the lower quarter.
Something that no doubt would no doubt bring with it an increase of guards in the area. My brother wouldn't dare let me walk among them without having a very large escort. This could also serve as a bit of a distraction.
You are proving more wise and shrewd than your auspices may suggest, if I may speak freely.
Well, I don't know if I'd call it wisdom, but if but if I can do something to help, I would certainly like to.
We're always willing to have help in these situations.
You tell me when he says, give me at least a day's worth of preparation, but tell me when you're ready to move, and I will, I will, I will announce the holiday and set everything up.
Good.
He's like,
We'll keep in touch as we get closer to this, but I think that the sooner the better.
he nods his head. He says, from what it sounds like, this could prove a greater security risk than could prove a significant security risk. Because not to mention the damage already done and potentially being done to those in the lower quarter.
I just hope that we can stop the damage and perhaps undo what has been done.
He goes, I do as well. He goes, I will arrange for he goes, whenever, he goes, I think he's just like, yeah, he goes, in the meantime, if you so desire, he goes, in the meantime, avail yourself of the refreshments here, because there's there's plenty enough to have. He is, says, besides, he says, I'm certain as you spend much time traveling that there are few enough opportunities to have a good meal such as this.
Agreed.
Yeah, he's willing to make small talk, and visit, and certainly allow you guys to enjoy the refreshments that he's had laid out. You know, whatever sort of breakfast or brunch kind of thing that you might want to have, except for Uthuran delicacies, which he does not have any insight to.
I imagine that
He probably has.
I imagine Uthuran culture doesn't have many delicacies. They seem pretty utilitarian to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, Basbeer just eats oatmeal. He just
has
eats.
some oatmeal.
Yeah. Again, temperate.
Yeah, there you go. You know. But
Callahan's
yeah,
loading like egg and ham and cheese and everything he can onto rolls.
yeah, Callahan's carb loading. He's like, my job is a physical job most of the time, and I need the energy.
Yep.
Very much. Right on. Right on. But yeah, he'll chat with you and kind of like hang out and eat brunch and whatnot until you guys are ready to go back and start kind of planning out what you're going to do. And Saren, that 24 hours gives you enough time to slip down to that village and take care of the thing you got to take care of for internal
Internal affairs.
internal affairs.
Yeah.
So if anybody is choosing, and I'm going to handle this as a series of skill tests. So if anybody is choosing to help with that, then they should probably be a part of the planning. But otherwise, I need to know what skills and approach that Saren is going to take to this.
This seems like an underhanded task, and I don't know if anyone would be willing to him with it.
Yeah, Basbeer isn't even on speaking terms with Saren. He's
Yeah,
barely
like,
on listening terms.
Could ask Callahan, but if it's like an underhanded thing, we got to go like kidnap someone essentially. Mecca, no, sorry, can't do that. I don't
I'm
want
trying to
interfere in the
remember.
politics.
Well, basically, the mission is that there is a sheriff in a village just north of Nur that Internal Affairs believes that believes that this sheriff has connections with the Woodenfoot the Woodenfoot smuggling ring, and has been helping smugglers smuggle shit in and out of the Duchy of Ocanther, and they want him arrested quietly.
Yeah, I can't help with that quietly part either.
Yeah.
So
This might be a solo Saren sweep.
Yeah, plus we're already kind of friends with, well, friends is a strong word. We already have dealings with the Wooden Foot. They got us up the Fossick River, right?
Right.
Or
And
Skalik.
but here's something else to remember. They also own part of the debt that Baron Larrigan has.
Oh, that's true. Well, that's
So-
true.
That's something, if you guys want to try to make contact with one of their agents here, this is an opportunity to do so. Otherwise, you may have to wait a while to get in contact with them.
See,
But
we would
this
have
also,
to be.
yeah,
Go
this
ahead.
also means you're going to have to like go a little off kilter from like what you believe Ocanther would want, because Ocanther would obviously want this guy arrested, but the primary goal for Saren was to prove that this guy's been working with smugglers and bring him in. Like,
Yeah,
there's
the
it's
tasks at odds.
yeah, the implication for him is to arrest the smugglers, but if you believe you can make contact with them without allowing Saren to arrest them, that may be something you guys could consider. But otherwise, Saren's stated mandate is to arrest the sheriff and bring him in quietly, along with proof that he's been dealing with the Woodenfoot.
good luck, Saren.
Yeah.
To be honest, I had a feeling I'd probably have to do this by myself, knowing the last couple of days, what's going on,
There you go.
and whatnot. Like, at one point, I'd be like, hey, like, the next morning that we get up or whatever, Saren's gonna be like, I have a mission I gotta do to the sheriff and whatnot up north. Anybody want to help? If not, I'll be back. Okay? No one's moving. Gotcha.
I'll
Bye.
avoid interfering in foreign
Gotcha.
politics.
Yeah, we're
Alright.
we're already meddlers in politics. That's a good point.
So, so Saren, describe to me what approach you're going to take and what skills you're going to use to take to be able to arrest this guy quietly and get him out.
Well, I'm gonna go in looking like a bum nonetheless in the town and find the person and find information and whatnot. And nobody's gonna look at me any which way because I'm gonna be a bum just wandering around to gather the information and then finding the proof. And then when I find the proof, then I'm gonna be like, all right, hey, let's go wander around and go wander with him and try to get him to come back to near.
All right. So, in order to go in, so I think, and we'll see what your rolls look like here. But first, I guess I'll need a disguise check. And then I will need a gather information check.
Not looking good for you.
Not looking good at all. I will need a. So you have not been able. You've not been able to. People haven't taken particular note of you, but they also haven't not taken note of you. Like there are people that are like, dude, why are you dressed like that? And like they like something about your walk tells them that you're not a dirty bum. Um, Gathering information, you also are unable to get much out of people. Um, you could try sneaking into his, and without the proof, taking him in is going to probably require a fight or an ambush. So you could either take this time to try to sneak into the sheriff's office with some move silently and hide in shadows, and maybe a search check to see if you can find anything. Or you could, and when you go to take him in, or if you want to skip to just taking him in, then you can just trying to take him in. Then you can go ahead and then there's a different test you can make. But but I
Yeah,
guess
so my thought would be since just basic can't find any information, I would find a time when he's not in the office to sneak into the office and go through files and whatnot to like you know how record books are like it goes this way, it goes that way or whatever, trading
right,
deals, multiple
yeah,
trading deals or whatnot, and get that information so that I can use that.
all right,
And then go that part. So I have to break in.
all right. So I'm going to need a. I think you could probably get in through a window, but I'm going to need a move silently and hide in shadows check. Damn, quiet.
Woo!
And
Hey.
oh, you're able to get into the office. You can either choose to make you can choose to make a search check. If you take 10 or take 20 on it, there is the possibility that you are caught and interrupted. But that's up to you.
I'm not gonna go as far as taking a whole 20, but I would like take a 10 to do it.
All right. All right, go ahead and give me take 10 oh, that means you would so what would your search check be if you rolled a 10 then?
So if I rolled a 10, it would be +2, so 12.
Uh, you are not interrupted, but you also do not find anything. You could always try to intimidate a confession out of him, or try searching his home.
So depending on how long it took, taking 10 was what, like 10 minutes or something, searching or something like
Yeah,
that.
something close to that, yeah.
Okay, so then I would think, well, there's probably nothing here. Why would you keep it at the office? Wait, that doesn't make sense. Ooh, maybe in his home, but he might be sleeping now. But I can get in real quick, get to his home. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go check his house out. And if that doesn't work, we'll wake him up in his sleep and carry him.
Give me another move silently and hide check. Not good. Remember, you do still have a reroll banked, but it's up to you whether you want to keep it banked or use it for something.
Yeah, I wanted. I have to use it for the move silently.
Okay. Basbeer, you still have a reroll banked too, so.
Yeah.
Ooh,
God
nice.
damn the nat 20s.
You got it. You managed to get in, and you managed to get in quietly enough. Do you want to make a search check? Do you want to take 10? Do you want to take 20? What do you want to do?
Well, he's probably sleeping or something, or somebody's here. I'm just gonna do a straight search roll
Okay.
and do it that way.
All right. You managed to find. You managed to find a. You managed to find like a scroll that is. You managed to find a scroll that or parchment that has on it details of some trade, and there's like a note in the side in the sheriff's handwriting um, about suspecting that there's heat on him, and that like the last shipment of the last of the last shipment that he got from the Wooden Foot from of apples from the barony of Deltrick, and a couple of art items that he'd gotten from Gister didn't produce the sort of market value that he was promised they'd produce. Like for one, obviously the artwork from Gister was going to be was going to be too hard to fence at the price that he was quoted. Like you see that right away. That like, oh, the their agent promised me I'd be able to sell this, blah blah blah, this sculpture from Gister that for this amount of gold, but I haven't been able to find a buyer for it. You know, and there's a note in the corner about like um, asked to exchange it for something else. But like you've got the sheriff's handwriting and the details and his notes on some sort of like trade, and it's not in any obvious place. Like you find it under a floorboard. Um, you find it under a floorboard in like the sort of like bathroom, I guess. So you've got the proof. Now you just need to bring this guy in,
Okay.
and you're doing this during the day or the night.
This was at night, or whenever, because it was the same time that I went into his main office. So whenever he wasn't at his office, I just went around and been like, oh, okay. And I have a feeling that's like at night or something. So I have a feeling he's sleeping in the house at the moment.
All right. Well, how are you going to effect a quiet arrest of this guy and sneak him out of the city?
Uh, I'll inform him who I work for and that we have information and this is how it's going to work. If you make a fuss, it will not end well. But if you comply, then the punishment will be a little more lenient.
So at this point, this is a choice. So if you're going to talk him into leaving, then that's going to be either a uh, diplomacy check or an intimidation check, depending on how you want to word it. Do you want to lean into the threat, or do you want to be like, look, this is in your best interest. We can't help you if you can't if you don't cooperate. Like, which approach are you taking?
More of a diplomatic type thing of like, hey, let's work together to make this an easier transition than it has to be. Because
All right,
I'm not a very intimidating person.
all right. Well, give me a diplomacy check then. Let's see, 14. I'm going to give you a +2 because you actually have proof of his guilt. So that's gonna. So yeah, I think you're able to talk him down. Like it. He's caught. He knows he's caught. He knows that he's probably not going to be able to take you out before you can take that proof back. And uh, yeah, he knows the implications if they have to send a larger team. Plus, he's not sure about your abilities. He's not sure whether or not you could just straight assassinate him here or not. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, make it easy on yourself. Come do the time. And he's like, shit. You know, it's that fuck. You got me, and there's no way out. Um, so yeah, you're able to bring him back in. Uh, and and uh, you're probably able to bring him back in under the cover of the early morning and bring him back to headquarters. Whereupon they hustle him away, no doubt to be interrogated. Um,
Handing over the proof that I have and all that.
yep.
And there, this also a secondary note in the proof.
Okay. Yeah. A secondary note.
Yeah, it's information about what we've done over the last couple of days to give to the Duke some more.
Damn it, Saren's such a
Okay.
cop.
I love it. I love it.
Cop, cop.
Yeah.
And then Callahan punched me.
Yeah, you're right.
And
Sarah,
he was looking at me and
No,
he
just
punched me.
Saren is part
he
of the secret
informs.
police.
Yeah, he informs about what his brother's doing and his willingness to help abolish whatever's in the sewers and blah blah blah. That's all
Okay.
that's in there.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. They commend you for a job well done. And you are given something here.
A new car.
Nope.
I'd hope not, because cars don't exist.
Nope. Not a car. And Callahan, shame on you for guessing things that don't exist.
I do what I do. I ain't got no shame.
There you go. um, you are going to be like you were given something. I will detail what that is after because I can't find it right now and I'm not going to slow up the process. But you were given something before you return to your compatriots for your as a sort of as a reward and potentially a tool to be used. But yeah, so you managed to you managed to arrest this guy. The director of internal operations is pleased. You probably pass by a Captain Woda again, or Sergeant Woda again at some point. Uh, maybe when you're coming in at the gates in the morning, and he just scowls at you. Because Sergeant Woda does not like you at all.
Yeah, it's like the same gaze back and forth of the general, like, hey, I'm doing better than you. Go away.
Yeah, he's not too. Gee, I hope that's not a problem. um, yeah, but yeah, you managed to accomplish your mission and get back, and I think with that, we're probably going to call it because it seems like we're at a perfect stopping point right here. So I guess everybody start sending me your Player's Choice Awards, and let's get sign-off started.
I can go. Hello, everybody. My name is Mira Shades GM, also known as Mira Shades, and today you caught me playing Bazbeer Foreteller, who seems to be finding himself in more and more of a strangely interwoven tapestry. He's discovering more players to this game than he thought possible. Also, incredibly betrayed by somebody who he considered an ally. So that's the other thing going on with him. But you can also catch me next Saturday, where we're going to actually have Napple. It's been a minute since we've had Napple. We're gonna get into something that I've been putting a lot of hours into and still need to put a lot of hours into. Thank God I still have a week. But be ready to see the season finale of Napple begin. We are in the final arc of Act 1. But yeah, that is gonna be. And then other than that, you can catch me every once in a while on this channel for other games, depending on when and where they are. But yeah, that is gonna be me.
Next.
I go. Hi ho, friendolas. My name is Ron, otherwise known as I. Caught me here today playing Archer Tiller, who's just getting really fucking fed up with all of this interpersonal drama shit. He wants to kill zombies! God, people! It's so easy! Kill zombies! And now he's getting involved with all of these, like, Gith and Illithids. It's like, no! Zombies! God! You can also catch me here on Wednesdays, where we are still in the world building process for Echoes of the Cosmos, where, you know what, there's going to be some mechs, there's going to be some magic, and we're probably going to blow some shit up. I think that if anyone wants to join, they should come here Wednesdays at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, because it's just me and Lo right now in the DM, and we could always use some more players, please.
I would if I could.
Smay.
Fuck you, Daniel! Get out! That's it.
Next. Who's up next?
Hi, I'm the bullied one. Stassibing Nasty 69 is not allowed in any other games. I'm just kidding. Unfortunately, work keeps me from being able to have fun. But you can catch me here every Saturday, essentially, because both games on Saturday. In Apple, I was like, not Red Apple. Why am I thinking Red Apple? Probably hungry. In Apple 2.0, as Chance the hobo with the shotgun. Boom, I missed. And then also obviously here on every other Saturday as Callahan, the soldier boy who understands both sides of the argument and is really just like, and then got dropped a nuke of information. Is just like, I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss. I'm falling apart.
Poor
And that's
Callahan.
me.
Right. We're
That
missing
makes me.
there you go. Yeah.
Okay, I'm Scott. Anything? Yeah, I play Saren, which nobody likes, but why not? He's great. He's just doing what he was supposed to do. I don't know why everybody's angry with him. He's friendly. He's nice. He's helping y'all.
I feel like
That's
we'll be
about-
less angry with you when you're out of when we're out of the Duchy of Ocanther. Like,
Yeah, that's completely probably true, 100%. Um, my brain cannot think. I'm not in anything else at the moment because life is weird and hard and in the middle of a transition. So I'm in this, and this is it, and that's all I got.
All right. Awesome. Well, Saren, you get your re-roll back because you won player's choice. The, however, that I guess that it brings it back to me. So I am the Just the King Zerat. You can catch me here every other Saturday for Lands of Lazrikaan, having a lot of fun running this game. My trademark political intrigue and fun stuff going on. And I promise things will get much more exciting very, very, very quickly. But after the fight in the Court of Ocanther, I felt like everybody needed a chance to just make some skill rolls for a while. Talk and make skill rolls. you know. But all right, well, I don't have anything else major to announce or talk about, so I guess let's get an RIP Posker and get out of here. RIP Posker.
R.I.P.
Posker.
Posker.